Who put my mother's face in your house? Lumu Chisala bursts into the cramped lounge, breath short, tablet still glowing in his hand. His eyes lock on a faded black and white portrait nailed above the old radio. He points, voice cracking. Django Koloba spins from the sink, wet hands dripping. Out, Django barks, wiping palms on a rag. He steps between Lumu and the wall, shoulders squared. The radio fizzes with a dusty high-life tune, volume low but stubborn. Lumu doesn't budge. His chest rises and falls like a piston. That picture? Lumu's finger trembles. Why's it here? Django's gaze drops to the rag. He folds it once, twice, slow as a clock, then slams the portrait face down on the counter. The glass clacks. He reaches for the door and swings it open so hard the hinge squeals. Lumu glances at the fallen frame, then at the open door. He squares the tablet under his arm, steps forward instead of out. Django's jaw tightens. A vein pops near his temple. He plants a sandal on the threshold, blocking. You're trespassing, he says, voice flat. Contract talk outside, not in my lounge. No contract, Lumu snaps. I need the truth. The old man's nostrils flare. He snatches a battered fishing medal off the shelf, then shoves it into a drawer, rattling cutlery. Lumu registers the surname etched on the rim before it vanishes. Same surname as his own pass card. He blinks hard. A kettle whistles on the single-burner stove. Django kills the flame, tosses the rag on the handle, then gestures again to the door. Last warning. Lumu raises both hands, palms out, and backs away 3 steps. His shoe catches a warped floorboard. He steadies himself against the countertop. The portrait slips, glass cracking. A shard lands near his ankle. Outside, a horn blares. Django jerks his head toward the sound. A charcoal gray SUV idles beyond the gate, windows tinted. A man with a shaved head leans against the hood, scrolling on a phone. He looks up once, expression unreadable, then back to the screen. Django's eyes narrow. He grabs Lumu by the elbow, hustles him through the doorway, and slams the door. The frame rattles. A single nail pops loose and drops onto the concrete step with a metallic ping. Lumu spins, lips pressed tight. The old man's grip eases but doesn't release. Both men breathe in short spurts. Over the fence a rooster crows, offbeat with the tension. You work for them, Django says, voice husky. Tell your boss the land isn't for sale. Lumu jerks free, straightens his jacket, and takes 2 deliberate steps back. He slides a phone from his pocket, snaps a photo of the house number, and pockets the device. His movements are crisp, almost rehearsed. Across town, Makena Mbayo steps into the marble foyer of a private club. She passes a folded newspaper stuffed thick as a loaf to Minister Simbiokuta. He peels back one edge, sees the cash, grins, then hides it beneath his blazer. They tap elbows, masks of civility flawless. Rain clouds bunch over the coast, but no drops fall yet. Back at the compound, the SUV engine coughs twice. Dex Kamba lowers the window. Django stares at him, then spits into the dirt, saliva mixing with dust. Lumu clocks the exchange, eyes narrowing. He reaches into his satchel, pulls out a folded blueprint tube, and lifts it half an inch, signaling purpose. Dex nods once. Neutral slides the window up and taps the horn again. Short, polite. Django shakes his head. Money talks loud. I'm hard of hearing. Developers will come harder tomorrow, Lumu replies. Let's talk while you still have leverage. Lever? Django's laugh is one bark, no smile. He turns, palms flat, starts to close the door, pauses. A beat passes. He tosses the metal through the gap. It lands near Lumu's shoe, spinning like a coin. Door slams shut, bolt clicks. Lumu crouches, fingers brushing dirt. The metal rests inscription up, J. Koloba Jettifire Bravery Nemdesi Pay. His lips part, but no sound escapes. He slips it into his blazer pocket, stands, dusts his knees. Dex exits the SUV, slow steps, hands visible. He stops 2 meters away. A boss wants a status. Tell her the old man's stubborn, Lumu says, voice level. Dex eyes the bulge in Lumu's pocket. You get anything useful? Maybe. Lumu taps the tablet screen. Glare hides the display. He slides past Dex without more words, heads toward the main road. The SUV follows at idle pace, tires crunching gravel. Behind the gate, curtains twitch. Django watches the pair leave, breath fogging the glass. The radio inside sputters, loses signal, returns with static. He doesn't move to adjust it. Traffic thickens as Lumu reaches the junction. A Keek taxi splashes muddy water across his shoes. He wipes them on the curb, then dials a number. Call fails. No signal. He curses under his breath, pockets the phone, flags another taxi instead. McKenna exits the club's rear door, steps into an electric sedan. She checks her watch, thumbs a voice note. Parcel 6 still pending. Give the architect 48 hours. She hits send, leans back, watches the city blur past tinted glass. Minister Okuda tucks the cash bundle into a desk drawer marked Archived Files. He locks it, pockets the key, breathes through his nose like a man inhaling fine wine, not sweat-stained money. Clouds finally break. Fat drops slap Lumu's window as the taxi rattles toward the high-rise district. He taps the metal hidden in his pocket 3 soft times. The gesture is small, mechanical, unnoticed by the driver. Back at the Shoreline house, Django kneels, rearranges the broken portrait pieces on the floor. He finds a clean cloth, wraps the glass, sets it aside. Rain patters through the leaky roof. Droplets hit the floorboards in uneven beats. He sets a pot beneath the worst drip, then resumes sweeping shards into a dustpan. Movement steady, no wasted motion. Dex's SUV idles outside Nauru Horizon's headquarters. He texts a brief update. Old man hostile, architect unsettled. He keeps the screen brightness low, then pockets the phone, prayer beads sliding over knuckles. Thunder rolls. Lumu steps off the taxi, swipes his card at the tower entrance. Elevator doors glide open. Inside, fluorescent lights hum. He wipes rainwater from his glasses, exhales, straightens his tie knot. The elevator rises. On the top floor, McKenna waits, arms folded, emerald brooch catching the light. Beside her, rolled architectural prints rest like spears against the wall. A glass of still water sits untouched on the conference table. Condensation crawling. Elevator bell dings. Lumu steps out. McKenna's eyebrow lifts. He hands her the wet blueprint tube in silence, keeps his other hand in his pocket, fingers on the metal. She notices the water spots, frowns. "Report," she says. "Not here," he answers. McKenna waves at the boardroom. They enter, door sliding shut, soft click. Behind the glass, their silhouettes cross, then stop, facing each other like chess pieces stalled mid-game. Rain hardens, drumming on the roof of Django's house. He rehangs the portrait with a new nail, frame cracked but upright. He steps back, studies it, nods once. The radio signal clears, the old High Life song returns, brass bright against the storm. A single street lamp flickers outside the compound, then dies, leaving the house in deeper shadow as thunder booms again, closer this time. 48 hours, Lumu. Clock starts now. McKenna paces the boardroom, heels ticking against tile. She plants both palms on the table. Lumu stands opposite, blazer damp. "Old man won't sign," he says. "Then persuade him." 2 days. She checks her watch, snaps the clasp shut. "Or clear your desk." Lumu lifts the wet blueprint tube, eyes fixed on the emerald brooch gleaming at her throat. She turns away, meeting over. An assistant opens the door, hands Lumu a dry folder, whispers about scheduling. He ignores the offer, strides past. Elevator drops fast. He taps his phone, signal weak. 2 bars flicker. He swipes into an archive database, pages stall, loading wheel spins. He curses, pockets the device. Street level smells of diesel and rain-soaked sand. He waves at a taxi. None slow. Dex's SUV glides to the curb instead. Window slides down. "Need a lift?" Dex asks. "I'll manage." Lumu walks on. Dex doesn't push, pulls away smooth, taillights fading. Across town, Zuri Bayoka edits footage in a cramped studio lit by a single bulb. Pixel the mutt snores under the desk. Zuri's laptop fan wheezes. Upload bar creeps 12%. She drums fingers, sips cold coffee. Clip title flashes, Emerald Tide's Dirty Water. She clicks publish, leans back. Screen freezes. Spin circle appears, then a red error banner. She slaps the side panel, tries again, bar crawls to 30. Electricity dips, bulb flickers. She growls, starts the backup generator. Motor coughs twice, catches. At Fisherman's Quay, Django carries a bucket of nails along the pier, checking loose planks. Neighbors wave. He lifts a hand but keeps moving. Pocket knife glints as he tightens a bolt. Water slaps pilings below. Mid-afternoon, Lumu reaches Kala National Library. He signs the logbook, enters dusty microfilm room. The clerk pushes a roll marked 1995 Jetty Fire. Machine whirs, image shaky. Headline appears, Dock Inferno blamed on faulty valve, worker missing. Photo shows younger Django, soot on face. Printer jams halfway through. Lumu yanks the sheet, ink smearing. He folds the ruined copy, pockets it. Back outside, cloudless sky now, humidity rising. His phone buzzes. McKenna. He silences. Second buzz, unknown number. He answers. Your upload stalled, Zuri says, voice tight. Info on Emerald Tide leaks if servers behave. You supply anything? Working, he replies. She ends the call, no goodbye. Minister Okuta lounges in an air-conditioned office, counting banknotes from the newspaper roll. He logs each bundle into a ledger labeled Research Grant. Secretary knocks, announces a reporter waiting. Okuta sends her away, locks the safe. Evening creeps in. Dex parks opposite Django's gate, engine idle. He checks his watch, exits, carrying a plastic-wrapped package the size of a lunchbox. Rain gutters drip overhead. Django sits on the veranda, sanding an oar. Dex approaches, stops at the first step, raises both hands. Package dangles from one grip. Peace visit, Dex says. He sets the box on the table, unwraps clear plastic. Crisp notes line the inside, bricks of N5000 bills. 4 million, he states. Django keeps sanding, dust rising. Dex waits. Wind lifts the edge of the plastic, rattles it against the table. Take it, Dex urges, tone low. Spend retirement fishing, not fighting. Django pauses, flips the oar, resumes sanding. Wood scrapes. Dex's jaw flexes. He closes the lid, slides the box closer. Django finally sets the oar aside, stands, cracks his knuckles. He lifts the lid, looks inside, then spits straight onto the bills. Saliva beads on the top note. Dex flinches, eyes narrow. Django pushes the box back, wet marks spreading across the crisp paper. Leave, Django says. SUV engine revs nearby. Dex whistles. Driver kills the lights. Street lamp flickers overhead. Lumu rounds the corner, breath quick from the jog. He spots Dex first, then the open gate, then the box on the table. He slows, hands on hips. Dex seals the plastic, tucks the package under one arm. He nods once at Lumu. Your window shrinks, he says, voice even. He retreats to the SUV, door thumps shut. Tires roll, gravel spits. Lumu steps onto the veranda. Django wipes spit from his lip with the back of his hand. Neither speaks. Night insects trill. Far off, a generator coughs to life. Inside the house, radio crackles. Signal cuts, returns, then fades. Django taps the top lightly. Static persists. He flicks it off. I saw the article, Lumu says, handing over the smeared printout. Django unfolds it, eyes skimming. His grip tightens on the edge. You know now, the old man mutters. Not enough, Lumu answers. Fireflies blink in the yard, soft pulses in the dark. Django folds the article smaller, stuffs it into his shirt pocket. Developers won't stop, Lumu states. I won't sell, Django counters. Lumu exhales through his nose. He pulls the metal from his inside pocket, sets it on the table beside the oar. Django stares at the circle of tarnished brass. Belong to a decent man, Django whispers. Then act like him, Lumu snaps. Silence stretches. A gecko clicks on the wall. Django lifts the metal, rubs thumb over the inscription, then sets it down with care. Rain begins, soft at first, then harder. Water drips through the veranda roof seams, patters on the table, darkening the wood. Lumu shifts the metal out of the wet spot. Sudden headlamps flash across the gate. Dex's SUV has returned. It idles, lights glaring. Back door opens, Dex stays inside. Another man steps out, suit sleeves rolled, phone held up recording. Django squints. Lumu moves forward, but Django grips his arm, shakes his head. The suited man films the house, the gate, the occupants, saying nothing. He pans to the unsettled box on Dex's seat, then back to Django. After 30 seconds, he returns to the car, door slams. SUV pulls away for good this time, taillights small red dots. Evidence, Lumu says. They'll claim you accepted the money. Django shrugs, rainwater dripping from his beard. We need to fight smarter, Lumu adds. He points at the sky. Clock's running. Across town, Zuri's upload finally completes. She hits play, checks audio. Pixel barks at a thunderclap outside. View count starts at 1, then 10, then 100 in under a minute. Her phone buzzes, message from an unknown contact. Have footage. Trust matters. She types back, send proof. Screen stays blank. McKenna sits in her apartment, city lights blinking beyond glass. She reviews a spreadsheet. Cell B7 turned red. Parcel 6 pending. She types a note. Architect pressure initiated. She glances at a news ticker on muted TV. Vlogger claims corruption at Emerald Tide. She mutes again, unfazed, returns to figures. Minister Okuda finishes dinner alone, goat pepper soup half eaten. He swallows antacid tablets, grimaces. Phone rings Makina's name. He answers, wipes lips, nods during her briefing. He murmurs reassurance, promises signatures will stand. Django and Lumu move inside, close the door against rain. Water drips from their clothes. Django strikes a match, lights a kerosene lamp. Yellow glow spreads. The roof leaks in 2 spots. Bowls sit ready beneath. Lumu rolls up his sleeves, shifts one bowl to catch a new drip. Django watches, then hands him a dry shirt from a peg. Lumu hesitates, accepts. From outside, a motorbike roars past, horn beeping, then fades. Somewhere a dog barks. The storm eases. Django lifts the metal once more, presses it into Lumu's palm. "Take it back," he says. "Not mine," Lumu replies. "No, but it will remind you who's watching." Lamp flame flutters as wind squeezes through wall gaps. Shadows jump across rough timber. Lumu pockets the metal again, heavier this time. Phone vibration startles them both. Lumu checks screen. Data service returns. Messages flood in. First alert from Makina. Status update by dawn. Second from an unknown number. They filmed tonight. Get ahead of it. He pockets the phone without answering. Water drips slow now. Django pours each bowl into a bucket. Metal clang echoes. Outside, clouds thin. Moonlight edges the doorway. Django rests one hand on the frame, listens. "You staying?" he asks. "Until morning," Lumu says. Django nods once, no comment. Far off, a siren wails, then dies. On Zuri's channel, the view counter pushes past 5,000. Comments stack, half in caps, some demanding resignations. Signal holds. Dex parks under an overpass, engine off. He opens the plastic-wrapped box, removes the top-wet bill, curses. He reaches for his prayer beads, runs them through shaking fingers, eyes closed. Lumu lays his jacket on a chair, sits opposite Django at the small table. They share the quiet lamp between them, rain fading to scattered drops. The old radio sputters back to life on its own, volume low, carrying only static and faint drums. Neither man moves to switch it off. A breeze shifts the door ajar, wood creaking. Django gets up, pushes it shut, slides the bolt. As he turns, a single headlamp shines through the window slats, motionless outside the compound. Engine idles, unseen driver waiting. The lamp on the table flickers once, then steadies, casting long twin shadows on the cracked wall behind them. "You took their money and left us." Morning light slips through broken slats, landing on the small table where the kerosene lamp burned out hours ago. Django stands at the sink, splashing water on his face. Lumu steps from the doorway, metal in hand, voice cracking but loud. "You took their money and left us." Django freezes, water dripping off his chin. He reaches for a towel and pats his cheeks, eyes set on the floor. "Speak," Lumu pushes. "I read the payout records." Django grips the towel until knuckles pale. He tosses it aside and squares up. 2 men, same height, decades apart. "They paid hush money after the fire," Django says, words clipped. "Port blamed me. I kept quiet so workers kept jobs." "You vanished," Lumu fires back. "Mom worked double shifts selling books." Django's jaw clenches. He steps forward. Lumu mirrors him. Distance closes to a breath. Django's hand twitches toward the metal. Lumu pockets it first. Outside, a horn bleats. The headlamp from the night idles at the gate again. Neither man flinches. Inside Nuru Horizons, Makina leans over a printer as sheets spill out. Environmental clearance, signed and stamped. Ink barely dry. She grabs them, waves them once. "Deliver to Coastal Affairs," she orders an aide. Minister signs by noon. The aide hustles off. Makina dials a number. Dex status. Dex stands near a vendor's cart, suya smoke curling. He watches traffic, phone to ear. Old man still stiff, but I have another play. 40 hours left, McKenna reminds. Call ends. Dex pockets the phone, spots Zuri Bayoka rolling toward him on a scooter, camera hanging from shoulder. He waves her down. Zuri parks, flips up visor. Evidence? Dex hands over a thumb drive. Footage of last night plus internal memos. Keep my name clear. Zuri tucks the drive into a sealed pouch inside her jacket. If this is bait, I drag you too. Dex nods once, buys a skewer, bites hard. Back at the house, tension spikes. Django slams the cupboard, jar rattles. You think I liked hiding? Papers said I killed 3 men. Port let them think so. Could have fought, Lumu says. You were 3. Fighting meant prison, no bread for you or her, Django replies, voice sharp. Silence. A drip from the ceiling lands in the empty bowl. Lumu walks to a cracked wall, grabs a stick of charcoal from a shelf, and draws a long horizontal line. He sketches arches, waves, small boats. Django watches, arms crossed. The sketch takes shape. Open pavilion, plaques along a boardwalk. Lumu labels a section Dockworkers Memorial. This stands here, Lumu states. Oh, free to public. No resort. Django steps closer, fingertips brushing the charcoal dust. He adds a tiny fish symbol near the entrance. Simple gesture, quiet approval. Lumu looks at the clock on the shelf. We leak the forged clearance before McKenna finishes her land grab. Need proof. Django lifts a loose floorboard, pulls out a slim folder wrapped in oilcloth. He sets it on the table, unwraps. Old harbor permits, dock union letters, and a copy of the hush agreement signed by port officials. Paper trail starts here, he says. Phone buzzes on the table. Zuri calling. Lumu answers on speaker. Drive delivered, she says. I need voices on record. You two up for camera? Django nods once. Meet me Key Warehouse in 1 hour, Zuri continues. Signal shaky there, so bring battery lights, call ends. Lumu grabs his satchel, slides documents inside. He glances at Django. You sure? I've hidden long enough, Django answers, steady. SUV pulls up out front. This time driver stays inside, engine idling. Lumu and Django exit through the back gate, cut across an alley, avoiding the street. Sand crunches under their shoes. Inside Coastal Affairs Ministry, Minister Okuda signs the forged clearance. Pen scratches paper. Clerk stamps seal. Okuda pockets a Valor Mint, chews. Sweat beads on his brow, though the AC hums. McKenna receives a photo of the signed clearance on her phone. She smiles, thumbs a reply. Good. Next stop, Land Court. Power flickers in the ministry, printers pause, lights dim. Generator kicks on after a delay. Okuda whispers a proverb to himself, straightens cufflinks. At the warehouse, Zuri sets up 2 LED panels powered by a rattling generator. Pixel circles, tail wagging. Lumu and Django step inside, dust swirling. Camera rolls. Lumu states name, position, declares forged reports. Django follows, voice gravelly, recounting the hush stipend, the jetty fire blame shift. He unfolds the oilcloth docs, holds them to lens. Zuri captures every page. Generator sputters, light dips, audio crackles. Zuri slaps the fuel tank, engine steadies. Recording resumes. Sudden footsteps echo outside. Zuri kills the panel switch, plunging room into dim light from broken windows. Pixel growls. Door creaks. 2 men in maintenance overalls peek in, mop buckets in hand. They nod politely, shuffle past. Tension fades, but not fully. Footage done, Zuri packs gear. Upload impossible here, signal shows 0 bars. She pockets drive and camera card separately. Give me 2 hours, she says. Video goes live tonight. Dex sits in his SUV across the harbor, scanning workers with binoculars. He spies Lumu and Django exiting warehouse with Zuri. He lowers glasses, exhales. A call comes in from McKenna. Update. Architect drifting, Dex says. But minister signed. You still want hard push? No injuries, McKenna replies. Scare only. Dex hangs up, shifts gear, merges into traffic. Zuri rides ahead, helmet visor down. Lumu and Django walk the shoulder toward the bus stop. A rusted pickup slows beside them. 2 men in casual shirts lean out. Need a ride? One asks. Lumu shakes head. Pickup keeps pace. Second man films with a phone. Django spots the lens, pulls Lumu back onto sidewalk. Pickup speeds off, tires squealing. More evidence twisting, Lumu mutters. Bus arrives packed. They squeeze in, documents pressed between them. Conductor shouts for fares, ignoring elbows and ribs. Downtown, McKenna meets a legal team inside a glass tower. She lays the signed clearance on the table. Lawyers nod, pass her a land transfer petition. Filing deadline 6 p.m. Today. She checks watch 3:40 p.m. Submit electronically, she orders. I want receipt emailed. Server hiccups. Paralegal refreshes page. Upload bar freezes at 12%. Office Wi-Fi down. Technician summoned. Minutes slide by. Zuri reaches her studio, flips main breaker, power holds. She slots the SD card, edits quickly, overlays headline, Port lies, blood money. She sets publish for 8 p.m., begins render. Progress bar crawls. Bus drops Lumu and Django near Fisherman's Quay. Clouds gather again, wind rising. They hurry home through side paths. At the gate, the bolt hangs twisted, door ajar. They step in. Drawers open, papers scattered. The charcoal sketch ripped from wall, pieces on floor. Radio smashed. Kerosene lamp overturned, fuel puddling. Django's hands tighten to fists. Lumu scans the room. A single sheet remains taped above the mess. Copy of the forged clearance, red stamp bold. Message scribbled in marker across it, sign or burn. Outside, a faint crackle and whoosh. They rush to the window. Smoke rises from the back shed where fishing nets hang. Flames flick at the roof edge, small but hungry. Django grabs a bucket, runs toward the well. Lumu yanks off his jacket, beats at sparks, jumping to the fence. Water hauls slow, rope phrase. Bucket dips, fills, climbs. He douses the shed corner, steam hisses. Lumu shovels sand onto embers with an old pan. Fire retreats but leaves black scars on wood. Sirens distant, maybe not headed here. Wind shifts, carry smoke inland. Django coughs, leans on the bucket. Lumu's shirt soaked with sweat and water. Both men stare at the half-scorched nets, silent. Inside McKenna's tower, Wi-Fi clicks back. Upload completes. Timestamp prints on filing receipt, 5:58 p.m. She exhales, sips chilled water. Render finishes in Zuri's studio. She hits publish. Video cues but shows processing delay. She refreshes. Still processing. Clock reads 7:55 p.m. Dex's SUV rolls past Django's gate, slow crawl. Lumu notes the plate, memorizes digits. Vehicle turns corner, vanishes. Wind dies. Smoke thins. Django picks up the torn sketch pieces, lines them on the table edge to edge. He reaches for a roll of masking tape, starts joining fragments. Lumu clears debris around him, pushes the smashed radio aside. He lifts the tape sketch, holds it against the wall again. Tape barely sticks to soot-streaked surface, but it stays. Phone buzzes. Zuri's name. Lumu answers. Upload stuck at 99, she says. System lag may be sabotage. I'm driving footage to a rival station for live play. Go, Lumu replies. He ends call, slides phone into pocket, turns to Django. They want fear. Let's give them noise instead. Shed roof creaks, a charred beam snapping, dropping onto wet sand. Sparks fly, then die. Street outside holds quiet. Inside, taped sketch waivers in the draft yet remains on the wall. Edges uneven, but picture clear. Live stream glitch? No, that's the leak. Bright banners flap outside the Seabreeze Civic Hall. McKenna greets officials near the entrance, smile fixed. Emerald brooch flashing under spotlights. Volunteers hand out branded fans showing a glossy resort rendering. Inside, rows of plastic chairs face a tall LED screen. Minister Okuda adjusts his cufflinks on stage, wipes sweat as technicians test mics. Lumu slips through the back door, bag strapped tight, eyes scanning exits. Django waits in the lobby, fishing gaff hidden in a rolled banner tube. Security wands beep on random guests but miss him. Batteries run low and guards shrug. Dex stands near the sound booth, headset on, nodding at McKenna across the hall. Countdown clock hits 0. Drums play over speakers, crowd claps. LED screen shows drone shots of sparkling beaches with the Emerald Tide logo spinning. McKenna steps to the podium. Kayla Republic's future begins today, she declares. Applause rises, cameras flash. She gestures toward the screen where a 3D model rotates, towers gleaming. Backstage, Zuri crouches beside a wiring cabinet. She plugs a small splitter between the media server and projector cable. Pixel waits outside with a handler. Zuri's phone timer buzzes. She mouths 3, 2, 1. Screen flickers. Model freezes mid-spin, image pixelates. McKenna glances sideways, keeps talking about eco-jobs. The feed jumps to a shaky night video. Dex's SUV at Django's gate, money box visible. Gasps ripple through the hall. McKenna stiffens. Technical issue, she says into the mic. She waves at a technician. The man taps keys, sweat on his neck. Video doesn't stop. Zuri's voice overlays. Viewers, meet the real Emerald Tide. Bribes, forged reports, and arson threats. Crowd noise rises. Minister Okuda steps forward, grabs McKenna's elbow. Cut power, he hisses. She signals to Dex. Dex sprints to the breaker panel. Lumu blocks his path, arm out. Touch that switch and every phone here streams live, he warns. Dex hesitates, sees dozens of guests already filming. Red record lights blinking. The screen shows the forged clearance with Okuda's signature, zooms on the stamp. Boost echo. Okuda pulls a handkerchief, mops his forehead, then lunges for the podium power cord. Django appears, gaff in hand, plants it across the cable. Try, Django growls. Okuda backs off, face pale. McKenna regains mic control. This is manipulated content, she says. Look at the timing, clearly staged. Zuri switches feed again. Thumb drive files, McKenna emailing Dex. Subject line, apply pressure, no injuries. Timestamp matches last night's fire. Crowd roars louder. A woman in the front row shouts, "Arrest them!" Police officers stationed for protocol step closer, unsure. McKenna points at Zuri's hidden spot. "That intruder is trespassing," she yells. Zuri rolls out from behind curtains, camera in one hand, press card in the other. Media rights, she says. Officers pause, recognize badge. One officer radios headquarters. Possible corruption exposure, need directive. McKenna turns to Lumu. "You planned this?" "I plan to keep our coast public." He raises his voice for the hall. "And for record, Django Koloba is my father. The land stays." Murmurs turn into cheers. Minister Okuta tries slipping toward a side exit. A youth live-streaming blocks him, phone up saying, "Minister, any comment?" Flash blind, Okuda trips on a cable, cane clattering. Dex edges toward McKenna. "We leave now," he whispers. McKenna nods, steps off stage. Django intercepts, gaff across her path. "Move," she orders. He lifts the hook end an inch, eyes steady. Dex positions himself between them, palm open to Django. "Easy, Elder," he says. His other hand signals an apology. Django lowers the gaff but stays planted. Police chief receives approval over radio, nods to officers. They approach McKenna and Okuda. "Hand over identification, please." McKenna retorts about immunity. Officer repeats request, firmer. Okuda fumbles wallet, drops it. A crowd member picks it up, hands it to police. Cameras record every twitch. McKenna extracts her passport. The officer places it in an evidence pouch, seals, notes time. Lee D screen still rolling evidence, now showing drone view of burnt nets at Django's shed. Lumu's voice narrates, "This threat followed refusal to sell." Crowd anger thickens. Dex guides McKenna away from booing guests toward a hallway. Two officers flank them, soft custody. Zuri follows, streaming. Hallway lights blink, surge from overloaded circuits. Computer carts spark. Dex shields McKenna with his arm. Officer yells to shut mains. Someone kills power. Hall plunges into dim safety lights. Backup generator kicks in slow. During the gap, McKenna whispers to Dex, "Get the drive. Kill upload." Dex shakes head. Too late. Multiple copies, power steadies. Officers lead McKenna and Okuda to a side room. Door closes, but cameras on hallway keep rolling through glass pane. Crowd outside chants rhythmic call, "Our coast, our right." Inside hall, volunteers pull resort banners down. Some tear the glossy fabric, revealing plain plywood behind. Django leans on his gaff, watching. Lumu climbs the stage, disconnects his father's land photo that McKenna used for promo. He tucks it under his arm, steps down, passes it to Django. The old man nods once. Press floods Zuri with questions. She raises hand. "Evidence will upload to free servers tonight," she says. "No paywall, no edits." A police van pulls behind the building. McKenna exits through the side door, escorted. Reporters swarm, flashlights strobe. She lifts chin, silent. Okuda follows, cuffs now visible. He winces at the light. Dex stays by the door, unrestrained. Lumu approaches him. "You kept your piece of the bargain," Lumu says. Dex answers, "My girls need a future too." They clasp forearms, quick release. Sirens fade as van drives off. Crowd spills outside, chanting continues. City news drones buzz overhead. Inside the hall, one technician pulls the splitter, power arcs, sparks nip his fingers. He curses, drops tool. Screen dies at last. But dozens of online streams remain active. Phones everywhere beam footage out. Django and Lumu exit through the front, side by side. Reporters pivot, shove mics. Django raises a hand. "Talk later," he says. They push past, reach the street where a small pickup waits, driver a neighbor from the key. They climb into the back. Pickup rumbles away. Behind them, Civic Hall lights sputter from generator strain, then plunge the facade into partial darkness. McKenna sits in the police van, wrists free but phone gone. She stares at the barred window, silent. Okuda mutters proverbs, ignored. Dex walks to his SUV, opens glove box, removes extra passport for McKenna, then pauses. He slides it back, shuts the compartment, locks vehicle, and walks toward a city bus stop instead. Across town, Zuri reaches her studio, copies every file to cloud, sets simultaneous uploads. Power flickers, router resets, countdown restarts. She smacks the casing, lights return. Progress climbs. Lumu and Django reach the key. Night breeze carries salt and lingering smoke scent. They jump down, approach the burned shed. Char remains, but no embers. They step inside, lamplight from a neighbor revealing charred beams. Django touches a blackened post, splinters flake. He turns to the sea. Small waves roll, steady rhythm. Lumu stands beside him. Police radio chatter in the van picks up a new command. Detain passports for flight risk, further action pending. McKenna clenches fists. On the Civic Hall steps, workers tear down the last Emerald Tide banner. Underneath hangs a faded mural. Fishermen hauling nets at dawn, paint chipped but image clear. Street screens downtown show breaking news. Corporate scandal rocks Kayla Republic. Hashtag Save the Coast trends at #1 in under 10 minutes. Power grid wobbles again. Portions of the city black out. Backup lines flicker. Servers at Nuru Horizons HQ hum, then dump users offline. IT staff scramble, phones ring nonstop. Zuri's upload hits 100%. She clicks public. View counter starts at 3, leaps to 12,000 in under a minute. Rain clouds gather without thunder. Django closes the shed door, latches it despite damage. Lumu plants a fresh lantern on a stool, strikes a match. Flame catches, casts a circle of light around them. Phone chirps in Lumu's pocket. He pulls it, screen bright despite weak signal. Message from McKenna's private number. You've made enemies bigger than me. He shows Django, deletes the text, powers off. Generator at Civic Hall sputters, fuel empty. Building sinks into darkness. Only streetlights remain, and the glow of hundreds of phones still streaming, screens ablaze against night air. Back at the key, Seabreeze lifts the corner of the taped memorial sketch inside Django's house. Edge peels, then settles, tape holding fast beneath soft lamplight. The only thing sold today is corruption, straight to court. 6 months roll by under headlines, hearings, and phone alerts. Kala High Court bustles this morning. Armed officers funnel spectators through metal arches. McKenna steps from a prison van in gray jumpsuit, wrists chained to a plastic belt. Cameras flash as she lifts her chin, ankles shuffling. Minister Okuda follows, suit swapped for county overalls, cufflinks gone. He steadies his cane in chained hands. Reporters shout questions. He quotes no proverbs now, mouth tight. Inside the courtroom, lawyers haggle over motions. Judge sets trial date 8 weeks out, denies McKenna's request to travel. She receives the ruling stone-faced. Okuda's bail revoked after leaked offshore account record. Gavel drops. Guards lead them out, chains rattling. Outside, Zuri streams live to 600,000 viewers. She tracks every movement, ends clip, pockets phone, checks data usage, battery at 18%. She jogs toward the coast. 2 hours later, Fisherman's Key gathers under a tin awning. A hand-painted sign reads Kayla Maritime Heritage Center, groundbreaking. No stage, just a wooden crate serving as podium. Community volunteers mix cement in wheelbarrows. Plastic chairs fill with dock workers, students, elders, reporters. Lumu threads through the crowd carrying 2 hard hats, one white, one faded orange. He finds Django fastening a rope to mark out the first footing. Old man's beard trimmed, but a scar from smoke still shows on his forearm. Helmet, Lumu says, handing the orange one. Django weighs it, runs a thumb across the scratches, then slides it on. He nods at the rope. Line straight? Straight enough, Lumu replies. Funding boards stand nearby. QR codes printed large invite donations. A volunteer refreshes a tablet. Pledged amount stalls at 46%. She sighs, resets hotspot, tries again. Dex appears, plain clothes, no sidearm. He greets Lumu with a brief fist tap. Security free of charge today, he says. 2 former unit mates patrol the perimeter, eyes scanning. Django climbs onto the crate. The crowd quiets. People ask why build a museum when the sheds still leak, he says. Answer is simple. Stories keep us afloat. He raises a shovel, plants it in soft sand. Applause starts, spreads. Lumu joins, clapping glove against bare palm. A journalist shouts, "Will the government fund the rest?" Lumu answers, "We're not waiting for offices that stamped fake reports. We build as money comes." He opens a cardboard box of bricks, places one next to the shovel. Zuri's scooter sputters into the lot. She hops off, tosses Pixel a biscuit, flips camera to record. Day one of real progress, she narrates. Pixel barks on cue. Rain clouds threaten but hold. Volunteers haul rebar, tie wire knots. Mixer belt squeals, stalls halfway. Motor smoke rises. A mechanic curses, pulls off the cover. Gear teeth stripped. Lumu wipes sweat, waves at the crowd. Manual mixing then, he says. People grab shovels, circle the heap, turn cement by hand. Rhythms build, chants start. Across town, Nuru Horizons headquarters sits half empty. For sale sign hangs crooked. IT staff pack cables. Receivership officer tags furniture with stickers. Back at the site, a city permit inspector arrives unannounced, clipboard in hand. He frowns at the missing safety fence. Work stops until barrier up, he declares. Groans ripple. Lumu steps forward. Fence post delivered tomorrow, but footing must set now. Inspector shrugs, starts writing citation. Django approaches, slips a folded document under the clipboard. Special waiver signed by Heritage Council yesterday. Inspector scans it, grunts, pockets his pad, walks off. Volunteer cheer lifts, mixing resumes. Midday sun pierces clouds, sweat beads on foreheads. Django's hands tremble, shovel handle slips. Lumu steadies him, trades tools, hands the old man a bottle of water. Django sips, nods gratitude. A group of teenagers sling sandbags. One boy points at Django. Legend, he whispers. Django hears, gives a small salute. Donation board updates, 54%. QR codes keep buzzing. Dex's phone lights with a news alert. Makina's bail application denied again. He shows Lumu the screen. Lumu nods. Poetic enough. Zuri ends her stream, checks comments. Thousands ask for donation link. She pastes it like sore. Battery red lines at 3%, she powers off. Near sunset, first course of bricks stands waist high. Community members sign names on the wet cement base with scratched sticks. Django signs last, simple J, period. He hands the stick to Lumu. Lumu writes mum across a small brick face, sets it gently into mortar, smooths edges. Ambulance siren wails in distance, then fades. Dex circles perimeter, counts vehicles, notes a black sedan idling too long. He approaches, knocks on window. Driver claims wrong turn, pulls off. Generator hum begins. String lights flick on above sight. Seafood vendor sets up near gate, smoke drifting. Volunteers line for fish rolls, pay discounted coins. Funding board refresh shows 62%. Django eyes it, shrugs. Tomorrow we chase the rest. Lumu checks his watch. Architect meeting with suppliers, 7 sharp. Django arches an eyebrow. You'll be awake? Coffee exists, Lumu smiles. They remove helmets, set them on a sawhorse. Django wipes his forehead with the back of his arm. Lumu collects leftover bricks under tarp. Inspectors return, snap photos, verify caution tape added. They stamp temporary compliance sheet, hand it over. Lumu files it in a binder. Night deepens. Volunteers disperse. Zuri climbs on scooter, Pixel and basket, waving goodbye. Dex and team lock the tool shed. Django and Lumu stand alone by the fresh wall. Lantern on a pole throws light across rough blocks. Tide rolls in beyond, hush steady. Django clears throat. Need to finish a sentence from months ago. Lumu looks up. Sorry I left. Silence holds. Lumu places a hand on the brick marked Mom, then on Django's shoulder. Keep building, he says. They pack away tools. Generator cuts, lights blink off. Only moonglow and harbor lamps remain. Across Kayla City, billboards that once pushed Emerald Tide now cycle public service messages. Protect our shore. Small print credits, Truth Drum Media, court clerk files. New docket, state versus. Bio et al. Trial confirmed. Public gallery seats reserved for union members. Donate app pings on Lumu's phone, large anonymous transfer. He checks ID code, recognizes Dex's initials. He pockets phone, smiles faint. Wind shifts, flaps tarp over bricks. Django ties corners, mortar sets, rough but solid. Water laps pilings, steady beat. They lock the gate. Chains clink. Lantern goes dark. Father and son walk the narrow path toward the key settlement, shoulders almost touching, neither speaking. Street behind them shows fresh stencil graffiti glowing under the moon. Not for sale.